Right, good afternoon all. Prynawn da. As Tony said, we're a group from cohort 7 in the Swansea Bay region, and we represent the University of Wales Trinity St David, Swansea Bay University Health Board, Gower College Swansea, Pembrokeshire Coast National Park Authority, and Cum Environmental. So the start of our project, we all had a similar idea. It was to how do we embed sustainability into organisational decision making. Now, although we had a similar idea, we come from very different sort of organisations. Although they're mainly sort of public sector, the range of the organisations is quite vast. But when we sat down and started discussing our thoughts, we noticed that there were significant and distinct differences in the organisations, such as the numbers of people we represent, the hierarchy, the management structure, the purchasing processes, etc. We found that there are common threads and similar opportunities that were identified, and these became our focus and the driving factor for our work.
As part of the CEIC programme, what I got out of it was leadership and project management skills. Should be moving them. Developed a community of practice, and for me that was one of the really, really important things that have come out of it, and certainly what I wanted to get out of it. And then collaboration and innovation on a piece of work that we worked together. So as a group, we met several times between the workshops, we met online, and we built this community of practice both within our group working on our challenge and our wider cohort. And we've been able to share information outside of our challenge that's been really, really useful, and we'll, I'm sure, continue to do that over many, many years. Part of the Circular Economy programme, we were shown how to use different tools and methods and build on our skills and knowledge in project planning and to develop our challenge. And we started by identifying our challenge, which was to embed sustainability and circular economy practices into our respective organisations. We all know within our organisations how important these things are, but we're also aware that there are competing challenges for all of us on our resources. So budgets that are cut or reduced, and competition for different elements of our budget, staff time and staff resources. So part of the challenge was to embed decarbonisation and the circular economy so that it both had a value and that it became second nature in decision making. So we began by refining our challenge in this slide. So we looked at things, all of our ideas. Some of them were far too broad, some of them were narrow. So we looked at kind of ones that we felt were valid and achievable, and that we could measure the success of. Some of the exercises then we went through to refine our challenge, and this matrix helped us explore our impact, the impact that we would make and the feasibility of what we could do. And we also looked at how and who we should engage with and at what level, so to try and bring empathy and co-production into our process. And as I said, we wanted to make the culture in our organisation and the consciousness about the principles of circular economy and sustainability. I'll wait for you to.
So we're going to get you all to do another Mentimeter. There should be a piece of paper on every table with the QR code. So if you could all open that up. This time we're just going to ask you to list out some of the sustainability actions that you want to achieve in your workplace. I'm sure you've all got extremely long lists, so don't overthink it, just jot down as many as you want to. And then if we can open up the page, we can have a look at the results as they come in. Yeah. Cool. So actually, incidentally, this the Mentimeter we were just using as a tool today to kind of go on to this next bit that we're going to discuss. But it is actually a really good tool to use within the organisation. A lot of us have talked about engagement. I'd never come across a Mentimeter until this, but it's a really good way of engaging with staff, service users, to get opinions and thoughts on sustainability. So yeah, as you can see, we've got some of the keywords up. So we've got reuse, decarbonisation, embedding core practices, reduce, zero landfill, waste segregation. These, I'm sure we've all, these are on all of our lists probably, and I think we did a similar exercise quite early on in the CAPE programme. I think it was a post-its on wall exercise where we were just listing all of the actions that we want to embed, but all of us have this shared challenge of how we actually embed them, not just implement them, but actually embed them so that they continue into the future. Very briefly, what we concluded was that policy was the way to do this, but Kate is going to go on to talk about where we moved to from that initial thought.
Thank you. Could we have the slides back, please? Well, so I think we've already mentioned today, one of our biggest barriers for all of us, I think, is policy and capacity and capability. And how can we really create that change and not just have it as a tick box within a policy statement? So we kind of fell onto McKinsey's 7 S's theories here, which looks at a whole system change approach. We've spoken about engagement today, behaviour change and policy change. I mean, I think this all needs to come together into one. So if we have shared values in the middle, which in this instance is sustainability or circular economy, strategy is really, really important. But so too are our systems and our levers and how we access that change and the structure that we have in place to ensure that we can action these. But they are meaningless without the people. The people are really at the centre of this, and ensuring that we're leading them with the right styles and giving them the skills to move forward means that we can sort of look at creating a structure that gives us a middle-out, bottom-up, top-down approach to embedding sustainability. So we're looking at our senior leadership, our middle management, and our staff users holistically, instead of picking them off one at a time. Different groups will look at enacting policy, writing policy, but pivotally even, as staff and service users, we have to use them as our conscience to test and challenge and form action discovery groups so that everything is iterative. People understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And obviously there are wider networks, PSBs that people are part of, local working groups, regional groups, and of course the CAPE community of practices that I think have all become incredibly valuable for us all as we've moved through this journey.
Okay, so we're really mindful we weren't able to achieve this in 10 months, but we have tried to understand what success might look like in the future. So what does that look like with things that we already measure? So hopefully there'll be emissions reductions. We should see a reduction in waste as well, especially if we're designing it out using circular economy principles. There should also be improvements in health and well-being across our regions as well. And this is all going to be through personal and organisational responsibility and openly sharing our success and failure. And again, that's where CAKE is really useful because we all share similar challenges, so having that sounding board across the public sector is really helpful. As a reflection at the end of the programme, this is a really, really long-term project. This isn't something that we've achieved in 10 months, but just starting to discuss what it might look like in the future and tools that will help get us there has been really, really useful. So thank you very much.